Welcome back to another episode of the Women Who Lead podcast, where real women get real about what it takes to lead in business, in life, and legacy. I'm your host, Christine Fernandes. And if you're a woman who's ever thought there's got to be more than this 9 to 5 grind, today's episode is for you. Joining me is the powerhouse herself, Jeanette Lowry. She's a mom, a grandma, a lifelong athlete, and a legacy builder who has spent over 34 years empowering women to break free from traditional income models and build home-based virtual businesses that actually work. She's the creator of Pivot, a transformative 16-week experience that guides women through mindset mastery, health, business strategy, and income leverage. This woman doesn't just talk about residual income, she's lived it. And now she teaches others how to create sustainable wealth without inventory, capital investment, or burn. Let's just say she's not here for hustle culture, she's here for freedom. Jeanette, welcome to the Women Who Lead podcast. Let's dive in.
Thank you for having me as your guest. So nice to meet you finally, Christina. We've been going back and forth for, I don't know, months.
I
So
know.
thank you. Looking forward to it.
I'm thrilled to have you on. Let's kick this off by, talking about your journey. So, can you tell us a little bit about your background and what led you to become such a passionate advocate for helping women shift from linear income to leverage residual income?
Wow, this could take a long time, but I'm going to just unpack it in a little box. My pivotal moment came for recurring income when a girlfriend came to me in 1990. And I just had a 2-year-old, new mom at home, and was married. And I fell in love with the product. I had no idea there was a business attached. And that was before internet. That was before cell phones. That was before technology. And so people were like, oh my gosh, we can't get these from Nordstrom's. Where do we get these from? So I gave them a phone number and they called and everybody got their own product shipped. And I was, getting questions all the time. I taught fitness classes, and for 20 years, my clients would come up to me and say, okay, something's different. You have more energy at 5:30 in the morning. What's up? Your skin's glowing. What's up? So that's really how I became an accidental entrepreneur back in 1990. For 7 years, I finally figured out there was a business attached because I kept getting $100 checks in the mailbox. And then it went to 1,000 and then 10,000. And I did my aha moment at that time. It was like, okay, this is either illegal or they've sent it to the wrong person. So that's when I started doing my homework into leveraging yourself through the efforts and purchasing power of other people, which is what this was. 7 years I built the business. My husband hit me up with a divorce after our second child. So 9 and 2, 16-year marriage done. And you can imagine, I mean, we had just moved into the dream house that, my business paid for, basically. And I took about a month just to be in bed, honestly, and said, I hope to heck I don't have to go back to work. But for 20 years, the money sustained me. So I was able to stay home with my 2 kids and get them through college. And my aha came when COVID hit. And I was still retired, still doing my arts and crafts and charities and things like that. And a girlfriend kept calling me saying, get your butt out of retirement. You have too much to help women. We need to help them get home. And she was right. So now the platform is on social media. We have all these different automations. We have technology to drive the sales and drive the touch, meeting people. So I came out of retirement in 2018. And that's just been my passion is the kids need us at home, period. Our families are suffering because of 2 families that are working. And it's not our fault. And I don't blame women because we do what we have to do. And we built our income to match our lifestyle, which is why 2 people are working. So it's a matter of saying, look, if you had a way to make this kind of income and more, work your butt off for 5, 6, 10 years, and then never have to work again, are you up to it? And most women would say, you're either doing something illegal or you're crazy because nobody's ever heard of this before, unless you have a bunch of money to dump into a big business or franchise or the internet stocks, all that stuff. Most people don't have even enough money to live for 3 months in savings. So this is a way for average people like myself to be able to get into a leveraged business and earn the kind of wealth that the 5% earn.
And you talk a lot about paradigm shifts in your work. And a lot of this, I totally understand, especially in business. It's everything to do with mindset. And
Mm.
so, what's one mindset shift that completely changed the way you do business? And, also life, right? It's life
Yeah.
and business because as women, we juggle so many things. We're
Yes, we have.
sets.
Yes.
Yeah.
And, women, because we're such nurturers and we're givers, and, that's just how God made our DNA. But we always put ourselves last because of that. It's always the family, the kids, the this, the that, the work, and then we're last. Well, if you put yourself last, which is one paradigm I had to shift, was you're exhausted and you have nothing in the tank to give back. So, one for women, especially working with them for 30 plus years, weight and health, money or the lack thereof, scarcity thinking, and being able to care for themselves or ourselves. Making sure that we prioritize our rest, our exercise, our nutrition, our girls' day out, and put that as part of the calendar plan. So those three paradigms are usually worked on with women. For me personally, it was belief in self because my body has always been healthy. I was a gymnast and then taught fitness. So I've always treated it like a temple, trying to eat the right things and things like that. At 64, I have more energy than most 40-year-olds. So I can unequivocally say that it does work if you work it. It's just like anything else. Nothing comes for free after being hit with, different things in my life, losing big meets or whatever. I had to really pour into, for me, I'm a lifetime learner. So for me, confidence came from knowledge. And so that was a paradigm that I started working on myself, personal belief, and that came over time, but it's totally worth it. It's a journey of growth.
Absolutely. And also too, like I think most women we're taught to be workers and not, business owners or wealth builders, right? So I really love that you're setting that example for women. And it's just so inspiring to hear that, at your age you've got the energy of, women my age. It's just
And
it's
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 it's amazing.
thrilling to see the transformation of women I work with because what you don't know, you don't know. And
Mhm.
that's how I started as an accidental entrepreneur. I didn't know what I didn't know. But once you know what you didn't know, then you can take action steps. And that's what happens when I help them with their body transformation. The body transformation gives huge, confidence boosts to, I'd say, 99% of the women I work with. And that confidence boost and that change in appearance to the outside world and looking in the mirror, why people start asking, what are you doing? I want what you have. And that's really how they can implement and start a business by default. So I'm kind of
So
following
important.
my old journey. Yeah, accidental entrepreneur. So
Yeah, I can totally relate to that. Like after I became a mom and had my two babies, my body wasn't the same and I just wasn't feeling like myself again. And I started getting back into my fitness, lifting weights and doing, bar classes and it's just like so empowering and it's really so
yes.
important how you feel about yourself. And we do need to put ourselves first. It's so important to put ourselves first. And when we're talking about business, trading hours for dollars.
It's a total trap. And that's unfortunately that's the mindset paradigm that we grew up with in our homes that we grew up in. I mean, our grandfathers worked on the farms 9 to 5 or 9 to 9, and then so and so worked as a school teacher 9 to 5. And so you kind of get that ingrained. A paradigm is simply a pattern, a belief that is true in your mind that something like this has to be continued on. We unconsciously go through our days with paradigms running the show. We're not even aware of them. So that's the first thing I work with women is you've got to recognize those paradigms. And so we just write down kind of a little mental history of our youth and anything around holidays, money, how it was at the dinner table, different questions. And they'll start to see glaring lights, paradigms that are holding them back. And then it's a matter of pattern interrupt. So doing something to interrupt that pattern when it starts hitting your head. And I do rubber bands on the wrists or tapping the toes or clapping the hands, or I used to say cancel, cancel out loud. So you have to do something that puts your body in a different state to interrupt that pattern. And then it
Yeah.
takes 30 days to become a habit, 90 days to becoming so.
It's true. And what I do know is that we're oftentimes when we're faced with this situation is, do I continue along the way that I'm going now or do I change? And it's a scary thing.
It that fear is what holds people back. The fear of failure, the fear of change. And that's what paradigms are meant for. That's what that I call her my little snotty girl that sits on my shoulder saying, "No, you can't do that. That's not safe. Go back. You don't want to do that. People are going to laugh at you. People are going to make fun of you. Go back." But you got to bring that little girl who's running the show, who was ingrained, indoctrinated with those paradigms as a kid. You got to interrupt. And
Yes,
that's a
you
huge
do.
part.
Yes, you do. And
Yeah.
let's talk about the model for recurring income that you've created that doesn't require any startup capital, inventory, or overhead. Like that sounds too good to be true. Can you break that down for us?
Absolutely. Well, the way I knew about recurring income was my dad was an entrepreneur. He started his own insurance company when he was in his early 20s. And, six kids in my family. I grew up with six kids, and about 9, 10 is when they got divorced. And I became a gymnast that year and started training at the academy that just opened for Olympic training because I was doing tumbling in PE classes, and my coach said, "You got to we got to get you somewhere." So that's how my gymnastics years started. But what it did for me is it kept me out of the chaos at home with six kids and a single mom at the time. But I watched my dad build his insurance company, not knowing anything about recurring income until about 8 years into it or so. He had more time to be with us kids, to take us on weekends, to snowmobile, to camp, to go to Disneyland for a week. And he had more time. And our lifestyle, his lifestyle increased. It improved. No more powdered milk at our house. We actually got real milk. You laugh at that, but anybody in my generation knows about powdered milk. So the lifestyle improved, and I thought, what the heck? That's when Dad talked to me about compounding his efforts with all the premiums that people are paying for insurance. It's just like an automatic payment every month or every quarter or every year. And that's what this is. It's an automatic purchase every month that people who fall in love with the product, they cannot live without it, which is how you build a big business. But you've got to have products that nobody else has, and it makes a difference in your life. So that was my introduction to recurring income without capital investment. The company does all that. It's a $9 billion company, for heaven's sakes. And so they do all the infrastructure, all the science, all the testing, packaging, they ship to your clients, they take returns. I don't do any of that. All I do is look for people that are open-minded and looking for a change. They know 9 to 5, exchanging time for money, will never retire them wealthy. Never. What are you going to do when retirement comes? And you're a Gen Z, a Gen X, a millennial. Social Security is probably not going to be there for you guys. Unfortunately, I don't even know if it'll be there for me, honestly, as a boomer. So, we have to kind of be proactive to see what we want our lifestyle to be like in retirement. And I know at 40, you're probably not thinking about it, but there's a lot of women that have been stricken by one of the D's, divorce, death of a spouse, or a disease, cancer, whatever. And they're now just going back to the workforce, and they don't have the skills because they've been home raising kids. So it's just the equal platform for anybody. And I work with doctors, I work with very highly skilled engineers. It the runs a gamut, but the thing in common is people are sick and tired of being sick and tired, not having time to enjoy their life. What's it all about? If you're just doing the paycheck, paycheck, paycheck. So this is a community, it's a team, it's a place that you can go to get support of like-minded people. And I can, even if I didn't make a penny with this company, I would never stop using 3 of the products, period. And that's really all it takes to build a business is trying 2 or 3 products that make a difference for you.
Yeah, so that brings me to my next question for you about
Mhm.
health and wellness. So you're super passionate about healthy aging and metabolic health. How does that tie into wealth building for women?
Well, in this particular business model, it's directly related to because unless you get a health transformation based on the pillars of science that we incorporate to change your health without dieting, it's not a diet. Diets don't work. And I've been preaching for 40 years. Diet means die. The 3 letters are in the word diet, die. It's about deprivation. Who wants to be deprived of anything? So this is about changing your thinking and restructuring how you grocery shop. I have a little workbook that I have people go look at your pantry, your refrigerator, your cupboards right now. Grab the bags, the cans, the boxes. Look at the first 3 ingredients. If you cannot read those ingredients and pronounce them and know what they mean, pitch it or donate it to a shelter, that food. Because what you're doing is you're putting chemicals and toxins and things that your body does not recognize into your body. And the toxic buildup that we have accumulated in our world today versus 40 years ago is unbelievable. That's why we're seeing obesity rates skyrocket. Kids' obesity. You know, the sugar industry took over the food industry 50 years ago, and sugar is in everything. It's addicting, like nicotine. It's very addictive, and people have to detox to get the sugar out of their body. And for some people, it's a very hard detox. It takes 2 days or so, but we do it with intermittent fasting and we do it with a cleanse that has 100 botanicals in it to help give you nutrition during the detoxing. But when you come after that 1.5, 2 days of intermittent fasting, you feel like a new human being. I mean, honestly, the fog is lifted, the energy is back, your cravings, which is what puts most people their hand in the refrigerator or driving through a quick fast food window. So it's about recentering the body, resetting it to be healthy, and then the patterns of eating enough protein pacing. Most women don't even come close to this, but when you understand that your muscle is your metabolism burns the calories that we eat when we eat our food. Those are calories. If your metabolism, your muscle is getting smaller and smaller and smaller every year as we age, your metabolism is going to be at a standstill, which means everything that you are eating, the body is keeping, it's storing it. So we've got to keep our muscle. And so that's part of this 3-pillar approach to good nutrition. Get clean first, cleanse, detox, protein. You need to have as many grams as your scale weight reads per day. So I will back that up a little bit. Your goal for your scale weight. So if your goal is 150 pounds, you should be eating 150 grams of clean protein every day. Most people look at me like I'm crazy. Like I'd be eating all day and I'd be gaining so much weight because of the calories. Not true. But when you learn how to do it properly with good choices of nutrition, then you just take your grocery bill from this store over to this store and you earn money as you get healthy. So
That sounds like
and the third the third
win-win.
pillar is stress, which we talked about a little earlier because women are always wearing so many hats. So pillar number 3, adaptogens, stress release. Cortisol has to come down to flush fat, period. Women don't understand that either. So I really spent a lot of time on that, cleaning up stairs and then making a body transformation because truly the wealth creation part is the easiest part once those 2 are done.
It's
So,
so true. I love
yeah,
lifting weights and I knew that about protein. It's so important. And
good.
I struggle to hit my protein goal every week or every day because it is so high.
Yes, yes. But see, I have little cheat sheets on, protein snacks, because we do 3 meals a day and 2 snacks a day. It's not like you're starving. It's just about reprogramming your brain to eat for fuel, not for comfort.
Yeah, and muscle's good. It's so important. I knew that, especially because now I'm in my 40s. I'm 42.
Yep.
I just turned 42. So as women, as we get older, we lose muscle. So
Yes, we
it's
do.
even more
And
important to lift
hormones.
those weights.
And the hormone changes your body went through after two kids, pre-menopause. There's things for that as well, natural alternatives to drugs, hormone drugs. So
Yes,
it's a
yes,
beautiful thing. I
yes.
tell people you're going to either spend money on your treatment of disease. They never will cure a disease. They will always treat it and never get to the root cause. Or you're going to put the money up front in prevention, preventive eating, preventive exercise, things like that. So, it's everybody has free will and it's a choice. But I tend to only work with those that choose prevention because I'm not going to convince anybody.
Absolutely. And like
Yeah.
you said earlier, we were talking about change. It's very scary and it's fear plays into this. So what do you say to women who feel like maybe they might be too late to start something new, whether, it's entrepreneurship or prioritizing their health?
So when COVID hit, I don't know if you remember, but 49 million Americans left the workforce. They said, I've had it. And a lot of these were women because they were, doing their telecommuting work from home and they were watching their kids learn in the classroom on computer Zooms. And what the heck they were learning. It ticked off so many women to see what their kids were being indoctrinated with, this, curriculum that was seemed to be okay until people found out about it. There's a lot of women in their 40s, 50s, and 60s who said, forget this. This is what's important. So there's no age that is too old, too young. I'll tell you, one of the oldest guys that I know in my company was a butcher his entire life. He raised a big family. Jimmy Smith is his name. You can look him up. He's now 90 something. He made his transition in his early 70s, and he is the top income earner ever in this company. So you can create legacy wealth with a company that is a legacy company that's going to be around long term. So, the scary part is finding the right company, work with a company at least 15 to 30 years of age and plug into a system and find a company that is in a growth curve because that's exhilarating. And the
Absolutely.
other thing, I hold people's hands. So my compadres, my, teammates from other businesses, we collaborate and we help. It's not a competition. The more I can help somebody, the better I do, the better they do. So it's a win-win. It's not corporate America. So that paradigm has to shift a little bit too. It's
Yes.
truly about empowerment.
I see a lot of competition out there. Sometimes I'm like, why though? We're
Yeah.
stronger together. We should be thinking about
Absolutely.
how do we collaborate? How do we support each other?
And that's my vibe. I've been in competitive situations with gymnastics, but I also was collaborating with my teammates, so I always knew they had my back. So I've had both sides of that coin. Oh man, I would choose collaboration any day over competition. Yeah.
Yes, yes.
Yep.
And so I wanted to ask you about a Pivot, which is a program that you've designed
Mhm.
it. It's such a powerful name. What does it really mean to pivot, though? And, why is now the time for women to do it?
So now's the time because the market timing for women entrepreneurs is skyrocketing in the e-business arena. Having an online business for women, we're going to dominate that structure in the next 10 years. We're going to be making more money than men because of this opportunity for women to have online businesses. That is huge because it's an even playing field when you start your own business. And just the entities and the support systems for working with women in business is huge today versus it was 20 years ago. So that's number one. Timing of everybody wants to be healthier. I mean, the market for buying products, for anti-aging products, for weight loss products, everybody's buying those products. And most people are shopping from their phone. They're shopping somewhere online. They're not going to a brick and mortar. So those are three reasons now. Pivot simply means it came to me in the middle of the night in gymnastics. We would be taught how to do half turns and full turns, and we called them pivots. So a pivot on the balance beam, a half turn, I'm pivoting 180 to create a new life. So that's how pivot was born. It's not an acronym, it's a term I used my entire life. So, but it is broken up into what we just talked about today. First part is the mind and the body. Second part is business, social media, the platform for building, all the things that go into having your own business, profiles, promotions, all that stuff. And then you learn the back office of your online. And then the third area is wealth creation. So it's divided into 16 modules, 16 weeks, and it's self-training. And then we come on a Zoom every week, and we have another group that you can plug into on a daily basis for Q&A. So
I love that. And
yeah,
we were talking about COVID earlier, and I think what that has taught us is, especially in business, is to pivot. And it's okay to pivot a lot of
yes.
times.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it used to be one job. That was your life, when our parents were working. You worked for one company, got a gold watch, you retired. It's not that way. Most people have 2 and 3 income streams. The multimillionaires have 5 to 7 income streams at this point because nothing is guaranteed. And you really have to have, those backups for crisis situations.
That's right.
Yep.
Absolutely. It's really important to have those multiple income streams. I love how
Hmm.
you explain that. And my last question for you. You
Sure.
spent thousands of hours coaching women in this space. What's one piece of advice you'd give to the woman who's ready to leap, but just scared to take that next step?
So what I do is I have women take a half day, go somewhere quiet, go to a river, a park, somewhere that you're not disturbed. Take 3, 4 hours and a notebook and a pen and just do brain dump. Just start dumping. Think about childhood. Think about what's holding you back. Think about fears. Think about goals and just start writing them down. This is just part of an assignment I have with one of my freebies. So when they do that brain dump, they're so stunned at what they wrote down after they stop brain dumping and read back. Oh my gosh, I did have a goal to always have my own business. Wow, that was when I was 7. I mean, so you just really just retrench to your past and everything, emotions, feelings, angers. There's different topics that, you brain dump about. And then we go back and we say, okay, here's your path you're on. And unless there's any changes made, what's going to change? Nothing. It's like doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results. That's called insanity. So, what if you could start on a part-time basis? This is not about quitting your job, firing your boss, and then coming over. Start where I meet you where you want to start. And most of the time, it's with body transformation and paradigms. So we just start slow. They replace their, expense at this grocery store. They're earning enough money from, sharing with a few people to pay for their groceries at this store, their store. And then we start putting goals in place. And the upfront money with this company, you can make 5,000 in the first 3, 4 months, and I show people how to do that. And it's a very generous company. But long term, it's about building teams. You want to find a few entrepreneurial people, 5, 10 of them, that's all you need, who want to also build their own income for retirement, a legacy business. And then we just teach them the strategy over and over. Simplicity means expansion. So
Yes. And it's okay to start when you're in that place of fear and it's
completely.
yeah.
Yeah, because you're never going to get over the fear unless you take that step over the line. I
Mhm.
mean, fear keeps us stuck and it keeps us resentful of not doing what we really want to do. So just step into the fear. And guess what? That line will get further away as you keep stepping into fear. Baby steps. It's not a big, hurdle. It's baby
Exactly.
steps.
And
And
that
that's the long-term change that you want. You don't want quick fix. You want to see the development, the change, the growth. You want to infuse it all into your DNA and you become a different person.
that's right. And confidence comes from action, not overthinking.
Overthinking always keeps you stuck, always keeps you stuck.
Yeah.
That's one thing I've had to work on myself big time. Overthinking. you know, over making it perfect, the perfectionism, trait that is definitely part of my DNA. So,
Likewise, I think a lot of we all struggle with these things, and this is why it's so important to find a mentor, to find a model that works, and
yeah.
commit to showing up every single day, even when it's not perfect.
Yes. Show up for yourself. Don't show up for anybody else. If you're doing it for your husband to get the love back, forget it. That's not going to work. You have to do it for yourself. It's like, alcoholism. Nobody's going to take a treatment program unless they want to. It has to come from them. If they're forced into treatment, they're going to go backwards because it
Mhm.
wasn't in their DNA. So it's the same difference, forcing people into something they don't want to do is always going to just pivot backwards to where they were,
Yes.
comfort zone. So
Yes, and you just have to be willing to take the first step.
that's
That's
it.
all it is.
And how about taking the first step with a team of women who are doing the same thing as you are doing? So they're going through their own transformations, different steps, different stages, but somebody has been where you are. And that's a beautiful thing to be able to meet those people. Which is what happens. You meet the people and go, oh my God, where have you been all my life? Some of my best friends, honestly, came from my first business, even though I'm no longer with that company. I had to give up that income when I started with this company. And I was willing to do that because I saw the science in this company and the forward, they're very out in front of trends. So,
That's
and
amazing.
I'm totally into that.
Yeah.
Being before, being an innovator, not a follower.
Yes,
So
absolutely. I love it. I thank
you
you
have such
so
a
much.
beautiful smile, Christine. People tell you that, don't they?
I
Oh
think
my
when we
gosh, it's
first
so
spoke, you were
infectious.
like, you need to be on a toothpaste commercial.
Yes,
I
I
think you're,
did. I said that. Yep, unbelievable.
oh, that's so
So
funny.
pretty.
Thank you so much.
You're so welcome.
It's been such an honor to have you on the show, and thank you
You.
for sharing your wisdom and that fire with us today.
Well, I do have some free, downloads. I'll send you the links for those, and your, listeners can download whichever fits them,
Perfect.
paradigm shift or refrigerator. I have a workshop coming up on the 31st and June 14th, so I'll put those in there,
Okay.
and it goes into a lot of this free workshops. So,
Excellent. That's so
yeah.
amazing. And you're such a beautiful example of what it means to lead with heart, strength, and serious strategy. Is there a website or anything that your email, whatever you'd like to share with our listeners to get in touch with you?
Yeah, right now, Jeanette Lowry, my name.com is my website.
Okay.
And there's different things that you can, find on the website. My contact information is there as well. And the pivot program is there. But yeah, the workshop's coming up. I'm excited about them. One I'm going to do in a live studio June 14th in North Carolina. So it'll be a live 3 hour in depth going through everything we talked about today with assignments. So true
Wow.
change. Yeah.
Okay, that's
And
amazing.
yeah, and May 31st will a Zoom, but it'll be an hour and a half. So it's just a cursory for the June event.
Excellent.
So
Well,
yeah.
I'm so excited for these events. It sounds like it's going to be really such a great time. I love your energy. I love your vibe. And is there any last final thoughts, words of wisdom that you have for our listeners?
I love ending with Roosevelt. The future belongs to those who believe in the beauty of their dreams. And that truly is how I've always looked at things. If you
Hmm.
can dream it, you can achieve it. A dream is planted in our hearts, not by us. It's planted long before we even thought about it. So everybody has a dream somewhere tucked away, buried. Find that dream.
Such a great quote. I
Yeah.
completely resonate with that. And thanks
Eleanor
again.
Roosevelt. Yep,
That's
that's
so
it.
great. And
Thank
ladies,
you.
if you're listening and you know that there's something more waiting for you, more income, more freedom, more vitality, Jeanette Lowry is someone you want in your corner. So check out her pivot program, follow her online, and get inspired by what's truly possible when you stop playing small. This has been another episode of the Women Who Lead podcast. I'm Christine Fernandez, reminding you lead loud, pivot proudly, and never settle for a life that doesn't light you up. I'll catch you on
Oh,
the
I love
next one.
that.
Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Christine. I'll send those links over within
Good.
the hour. Okay.
All right.
Good.
Thank